Stop right there. Before you take another sip of that coffee in your hand, I need you to hear something that might completely change how you look at your morning ritual forever. You trusted them. That familiar red canister your grandmother kept on her counter for 40 years. The drive-through coffee you grabbed 3 times a week on your way to work. The instant jar that promised convenience without compromise. The premium European brand with the beautiful tin that cost twice as much because you believe price meant quality. But what if I told you that some of the world's most recognized, most trusted, most beloved coffee brands have been systematically hiding something genuinely dangerous in every single cup you've ever poured? We're not talking about slightly stale beans here. We're not discussing minor quality issues or marketing exaggerations. We're talking about mold toxins that progressively destroy your liver tissue. We're talking about banned chemicals that enter your bloodstream and lodge in your organs. We're talking about microplastics, so small they cross the blood-brain barrier and accumulate in neural tissue. And here's the part that should make your blood boil. The companies selling these contaminated products know exactly what they're doing. They face forced recalls in Europe, where regulators actually protect citizens. They received official warnings from health agencies that take food safety seriously. They've settled class action lawsuits from betrayed customers who discovered the truth too late. Yet somehow, magically, they continue selling the exact same contaminated products to American consumers like absolutely nothing ever happened. No warnings, no recalls, no acknowledgement, just calculated corporate silence while other countries protected their people and we got left in the dark. For seniors carefully managing declining health and watching every substance that enters your body. For parents giving coffee to teenagers without realizing what's really in that cup. For cancer survivors who eliminated every toxin from your diet except this one because you thought it was safe. For anyone who assumed that familiar brand name automatically meant safety, this information could fundamentally change everything you thought you knew about your morning comfort ritual. Today, we're doing something unprecedented. We're pulling back the curtain completely on 10 coffee brands that should never, ever touch your lips again. But here's the critical part. We're not leaving you stranded without options. We're not creating fear without offering real solutions. By the end of this deep dive, you'll discover 4 brands that actually deserve your trust. Brands that prove real, clean, safe coffee still exists if you know exactly where to look and what to demand. Let's start with names so monumentally trusted, so globally ubiquitous, that even questioning it almost feels wrong. Almost feels like attacking a family member. But sometimes family members lie to you for decades. The instant coffee empire built on contamination. For 85 years, Nescafé has been the undisputed instant coffee standard worldwide. That distinctive red label sits confidently in kitchens across 180 countries on every inhabited continent. Your grandparents relied on it religiously every single morning. Your parents probably continued that exact tradition. Your neighbors, your co-workers, people you see every single day, they're all brewing it right now while you're watching this. When any brand achieves that level of complete global market dominance, your brain automatically, unconsciously assumes safety. Logic says that billions of jars sold across nearly a century means government testing, quality standards, consumer protection. If everyone drinks it everywhere, it must be perfectly fine, right? Then European food safety regulators, the ones who actually enforce standards and protect their populations, started conducting routine batch testing between 2013 and 2017. What they discovered in those Nescafé jars shattered any illusion of safety forever. Aflatoxin contamination. Significant, measurable, dangerous levels. Let me explain exactly what aflatoxins are because this isn't some minor quality issue. These are mold toxins produced by Aspergillus fungi that grow on improperly stored agricultural products, particularly coffee beans stored in humid conditions without proper quality control. Aflatoxins aren't just unpleasant or inconvenient. They're not something that makes coffee taste bad. The World Health Organization's International Agency for Research on Cancer classifies them as Group 1 carcinogens. Let that sink in for a moment. Group 1. That puts aflatoxins in the exact same danger category as tobacco smoke, asbestos exposure, and plutonium. These compounds directly cause liver cancer through DNA damage. They systematically suppress immune system function, making you vulnerable to infections and diseases your body would normally fight off. And here's the terrifying part. They accumulate in your body tissue with every single cup you drink. This is an acute poisoning where one exposure makes you sick. This is chronic poisoning where tiny amounts every morning for years or decades slowly destroy your liver until symptoms finally appear when the damage is already catastrophic and potentially irreversible. European regulators didn't mess around once they discovered this. They forced immediate mandatory recalls. Store shelves got cleared. Consumers received official warnings through government health agencies. Asian markets pulled contaminated products immediately and launched their own independent testing programs. Governments across multiple continents warned their citizens explicitly. And American consumers? Nestle, the multinational corporation behind Nescafé, decided we didn't need to know. Not a single press release. Not one voluntary recall. Not even a vague statement acknowledging concerns. No transparency whatsoever about whether U.S. market supplies came from the exact same contaminated batches that poison products in countries that actually protect their people. Just calculated, strategic silence while European and Asian regulators protected their populations and American consumers kept drinking contaminated coffee every single morning with absolutely no idea what they were putting in their bodies. Go get a jar of Nescafé from your kitchen right now. I'll wait. Dissolve a spoonful in hot water and actually watch what happens. Watch how unnaturally, impossibly fast it disappears into liquid. Real coffee resists dissolution because it contains natural oils, complex organic compounds, and structural components that take time to break down and integrate with water. This vanishes almost instantly within seconds because it's been chemically processed, broken down, and reformulated into powder specifically designed for convenience rather than quality or safety. The entire molecular structure has been altered to prioritize speed over everything else. Now smell it closely. Take a real, deep breath. That aroma isn't the rich, complex, earthy scent of freshly roasted beans. It's artificial, burnt, hollow, flat. That's the smell of industrial chemistry, pretending to be coffee. That's what mass production smells like when profit margins matter more than actual quality. The instant processing method Nescafé uses makes everything exponentially worse. They use spray drying technology, which means blasting concentrated coffee liquid with temperatures exceeding 400 degrees Fahrenheit. That extreme heat doesn't just destroy the beneficial antioxidants that make real coffee a healthy beverage. It completely obliterates them. But it also creates acrylamide, another known carcinogen that forms when organic matter gets subjected to extreme temperatures. So you're getting a double dose of cancer risk. Mold toxins from contaminated beans that were never properly screened, plus heat-generated carcinogens from the processing method itself. Two completely different cancer risks in every single spoonful. Think about what this means for different groups. For seniors who've trusted Nescafé faithfully for 30, 40, 50 years, that liver damage happens completely silently. Aflatoxins accumulate gradually over years and decades, damaging hepatic tissue bit by microscopic bit until symptoms finally manifest when the damage is already severe, when liver function is already significantly compromised, when treatment options become limited. For cancer survivors who carefully eliminated all known toxins from their diet during recovery and maintenance, who read every label and research every ingredient, aflatoxins directly undermine and contradict everything you're doing to heal and stay healthy. For families who thought instant just meant convenient, who believe that red label meant trustworthy, it actually means contaminated with compounds your body has no natural mechanism to process safely. 85 years of carefully built trust. One recall they desperately hoped you'd never discover. But Nescafé is just the beginning. Let's talk about what happens when European heritage and premium pricing become elaborate masks for pesticide contamination and complete supply chain opacity. The Italian deception, when premium means pesticides. Lavazza absolutely drips with sophisticated appeal. Italian heritage spanning generations. Premium pricing that signals quality to your brain. Those gorgeous tins that look like they belong in an authentic Roman cafe, not on a contaminated product exposure list. The marketing whispers elegance, tradition, and old-world craftsmanship. You're not just buying coffee when you choose Lavazza. You're buying a piece of Italian culture, a connection to European sophistication, right? Between 2017 and 2019, multiple European consumer protection organizations across different countries decided to put that romantic marketing to the test. They analyzed Lavazza's non-organic product lines, specifically the ones most commonly exported and sold in American grocery stores. The results shocked even investigators. Detectable pesticide residues and significant levels of ochratoxin A, another extremely dangerous mold toxin that specifically attacks liver and kidney function, causing progressive organ damage that often goes unnoticed until it becomes severe. The European Union doesn't take food safety lightly, especially after multiple food contamination scandals. They issued official warnings to consumers. They demanded dramatically stricter quality controls from Lavazza. They required greater transparency about sourcing, processing, and testing. They made it clear that continuing to sell contaminated products will result in serious consequences. Lavazza's response to European regulators was predictable corporate compliance. They implemented the minimum changes necessary to continue operating in European markets. But their response to American consumers? Absolute, complete, total silence. Not a single recall issued here. No warnings whatsoever. No acknowledgement that the exact same products Europeans were being officially warned about were sitting on American grocery store shelves from New York to California, from Florida to Washington. They simply continued business as usual, banking entirely on the assumption that American consumers wouldn't hear about problems occurring overseas, wouldn't connect the dots, wouldn't demand the same protections that European citizens automatically receive. The deeper, more systemic issue is Lavazza's complete supply chain opacity. They source beans from multiple countries across several continents with absolutely zero batch-level traceability for consumers. That means you cannot verify which specific farm grew the beans in your tin. You can't determine which harvest they came from. You can't identify which processing facility handled them. You can't trace anything back to source. It's coffee roulette where Lavazza always wins, and you're gambling with your health every single time you brew a cup, with no way to make informed decisions because they refuse to provide basic information. Open one of those elegant Italian tins right now. The aroma seems pleasant enough on the surface, but it's generic, factory consistent, standardized. Every batch smells virtually identical because the coffee has been industrially processed and blended for mass production rather than carefully cultivated for unique terroir characteristics and flavor complexity. That's not how authentic, high-quality coffee behaves. Real coffee varies noticeably between harvests, reflecting subtle changes in weather patterns, soil mineral composition, and growing conditions. Factory consistency means factory processing, chemical standardization, and quality control focus on uniformity rather than excellence. Think about the implications for specific health situations. For cancer survivors who methodically eliminated all known toxins from their diet and environment, ochratoxin A is classified by the International Agency for Research on Cancer as possibly carcinogenic to humans, meaning evidence suggests it causes cancer, but hasn't been definitively proven yet due to research limitations. That's not a risk you want to take during recovery. For pregnant women desperately try and create the cleanest possible environment for fetal development, pesticide residues cross the placental barrier with ease and reach your developing baby's bloodstream directly, potentially affecting neurological development and organ formation during critical growth phases. For anyone managing liver or kidney disease, adding ochratoxin exposure is like pouring gasoline on fire. The Italian romance on that beautiful package? That's marketing genius exploiting cultural associations. The actual reality inside the tin? That's contamination with a passport, wearing fancy clothes and speaking with an accent, while slowly destroying your organs. When your iced coffee is actually liquid candy. Now let's address a product so fundamentally deceptive that most people don't even realize they're not drinking coffee at all. They genuinely believe they're making a reasonable beverage choice. International Delight Iced Coffee sits innocently in refrigerators everywhere across America. Bright, colorful, attractive bottles with condensation suggesting freshness. The words iced coffee splash prominently across the label in large, confident letters. It looks refreshing, convenient, perfect for grabbing on your way out the door. No brewing required. No mess. No time wasted. What could possibly be simpler or more appealing? Flip that bottle over right now and force yourself to read the ingredient list slowly and carefully. Water is listed first, which makes logical sense. Sugar appears second, which gives you pause. But then look carefully at where coffee actually appears in the ingredient hierarchy. Fourth, your iced coffee drink lists actual coffee as the fourth ingredient. That means by weight and volume. There's more water, more sugar, and more cream than actual coffee in this bottle you're about to consume. Then the list continues with palm oil, artificial flavors, sodium phosphate carrageenan, and a parade of additives. This isn't iced coffee. This is liquid candy with coffee flavoring added as a minor afterthought to justify the name on the label. Let's discuss actual numbers because the mathematics here are genuinely shocking, and most people never calculate what they're actually consuming. One bottle contains 42 grams of sugar. To put that in meaningful perspective, a standard 12-ounce can of Coca-Cola contains 39 grams of sugar. You're drinking more sugar than a can of Coke and calling it coffee, justify it as a morning beverage, thinking it's somehow better than drinking soda. The saturated fat content hits 8 grams per bottle, which exceeds what you consume from eating an entire McDonald's cheeseburger. This isn't a beverage. This isn't refreshment. This is a milkshake pretending to be coffee, hiding behind coffee-adjacent marketing, while delivering dessert-level nutrition. Pick up the bottle and shake it right now. Watch carefully how it moves inside. Thick, syrupy, viscous, unnaturally creamy in ways that liquid shouldn't behave. Pour it slowly into a clear glass and notice the oily film that immediately clings to the sides and doesn't dissipate. Real iced coffee, even with cream generously added, remains relatively translucent. You can see through it. Light passes through it. This coats everything it touches like liquid plastic, leaving residue on glass, on your lips, probably throughout your digestive tract. Think carefully about what this means for different populations. For diabetics trying desperately to manage blood sugar levels, one bottle triggers violent, dangerous glucose spikes. Your pancreas goes into absolute overdrive trying to produce enough insulin to process that massive sugar bomb. Your blood sugar shoots up dramatically, then crashes hard, creating that familiar afternoon energy collapse that makes you crave more sugar to feel normal again. Over time, this kind of repeated metabolic assault contributes significantly to insulin resistance and accelerates progression toward more severe diabetes complications, including neuropathy, vision problems, and cardiovascular disease. For children and teenagers whose taste preferences are still developing, products like this literally train developing taste buds and brain reward systems to expect and actively crave liquid candy instead of actual beverages. You're programming their neurological reward pathways to associate coffee and caffeine with dessert-level sweetness, setting them up for a lifetime of sugar dependency, metabolic issues, and difficulty enjoying anything that isn't hyperpalatable. For seniors carefully managing heart disease and watching every risk factor, the combination of saturated fat and refined sugar creates systemic inflammation that directly damages arterial walls, promotes atherosclerotic plaque formation, and accelerates cardiovascular deterioration. Every bottle represents a cardiovascular stress test disguised as a convenient morning drink. The coffee in this bottle exists purely, exclusively for marketing and legal purposes. It's there so the company can legally print coffee on the label and stock it near actual coffee products in stores. You're paying premium prices for sugar water with coffee scent and brown coloring. International delight isn't delight. It's deception in a bottle, exploiting trust and convenience to sell liquid candy. The coffee that sends people to emergency rooms. But if you think liquid candy is concerning, wait until you hear about the coffee brand that literally, documentably sent people to hospital emergency rooms with dangerous caffeine overdose symptoms requiring medical intervention. Death Wish Coffee doesn't attempt to hide what it represents. The name itself screams danger and appeals to a certain machismo. World's strongest coffee, they proclaim proudly. Skull and crossbones logo dominating the package. Aggressive, extreme branding specifically targeting caffeine addicts and people who think more is always better, who want to prove they can handle anything, who view coffee consumption as some kind of endurance test. Here's what the marketing conveniently doesn't advertise quite as loudly or prominently. Death Wish contains up to 728 milligrams of caffeine per standard 12-ounce cup. Regular coffee, the kind humans consumed safely for centuries, contained approximately 95 milligrams per cup. That means one cup of Death Wish delivers nearly 8 times the caffeine of normal coffee. All at once, in a single serving. Your heart, your nervous system, your cardiovascular system, and your kidneys suddenly have to process a caffeine tsunami they were never biologically designed to handle simultaneously. They achieve this extreme caffeine content through 2 deliberate methods. First, they use Robusta beans instead of Arabica. Robusta is significantly cheaper to source, tastes considerably harsher and more bitter, and contains nearly twice the caffeine of Arabica beans naturally. It's the bean species that quality-focused artisan roasters consistently avoid and reject because it produces inferior coffee with harsh flavor profiles. Death Wish built their entire brand identity and business model on it. Second, they over-roast the beans to maximum possible darkness, extracting every possible molecule of caffeine, while simultaneously destroying most of the flavor compounds, aromatic oils, and beneficial antioxidants that make real coffee valuable for health and enjoyment. In 2019, the FDA received multiple serious adverse event reports specifically related to Death Wish consumption. Heart palpitations requiring monitoring, emergency room visits with dangerous tachycardia, caffeine overdose symptoms including uncontrollable tremors, severe panic attacks, dangerously elevated blood pressure levels high enough to trigger strokes or cardiac events. These weren't people with pre-existing serious heart conditions making obviously poor choices. These were previously healthy adults who bought coffee, trusted a brand, and got a medical emergency instead of their morning beverage. The company's official response was minimal and grudging, small font warnings buried on packaging. No product reformulation whatsoever. No acknowledgement of the genuine danger their product represents to consumers. Just continued aggressive selling with the exact same extreme marketing that hospitalized people. Open a bag of Death Wish right now and just smell it. The aroma will tell you everything you need to know immediately. Burnt, acrid, char beyond any reasonable recognition. This is an expert roasting, carefully showcasing bean quality and developing complex flavor profiles. This is caffeine weaponization at the complete expense of everything that makes coffee worth drinking and enjoying. Think about specific vulnerable populations. For seniors taking blood pressure medications or managing cardiac arrhythmias, this amount of concentrated caffeine can trigger life-threatening complications, including dangerous arrhythmias, hypertensive crisis, or cardiac arrest. For anyone over 60, elderly kidneys process and eliminate caffeine much more slowly than young kidneys, meaning it stays in your system considerably longer, causes severe sleep disruption for days, and accumulates if you drink it regularly. Death Wish genuinely earned its ominous name. Skip it completely. Extreme caffeine nearly kill people and will continue doing so. But at least Death Wish openly warns you it's dangerous and extreme. The next brand hides behind America's most trusted, most familiar, most comforting face. America's most secretive coffee brand, Folgers. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup. That jingle became embedded in American cultural consciousness across multiple generations. The red canister appeared in kitchens throughout the country for decades. A brand so familiar, so ubiquitous, so ordinary that it feels less like a product and more like family. So deeply trusted that even questioning it seems almost disrespectful to tradition and nostalgia. Now try to find actual information about what's inside that comfortingly familiar canister. Go ahead, try. You can't find anything meaningful. Pick it up right now. Look carefully for an origin country, not listed anywhere. Farm name or region, doesn't exist on the label. Harvest date, never mentioned. Bean variety or species, they won't say. Processing method, complete mystery. Just one single word printed, coffee. That's literally the only information Folgers provides about what you're putting in your body every single morning for years or decades. Folgers is unequivocally the most secretive major coffee brand operating in America today. Other brands lie on their labels, exaggerate claims, or use misleading marketing. Folgers won't even give you a label detailed enough to contain lies or misleading claims. While competitors at least pretend to offer transparency and make token gestures toward disclosure, Folgers operates in complete, total, calculated opacity, betting everything on the assumption that brand familiarity and nostalgic trust will completely overcome consumer curiosity or concern. Industry insiders, coffee importers, and specialty roasters consistently report and confirm that Folgers relies primarily and heavily on Robusta beans, the absolute cheapest, harshest coffee species available anywhere on Earth. Robusta costs 30% less than Arabica at wholesale. It tastes significantly harsher, more bitter, more unpleasant. It completely lacks the complex flavor profiles, aromatic compounds, and natural sweetness that coffee enthusiasts and quality roasters value. Professional artisan roasters universally reject it as unsuitable for quality coffee. Folgers built a multi-billion-dollar empire on it by hiding that fact completely. The instant version adds genuine insult to injury. Maltodextrin, a highly processed starch filler that adds bulk and weight without contributing any flavor whatsoever. Silicon dioxide, an anti-caking chemical agent that keeps powder from clumping but has no business in food. Natural flavors, which sounds wonderfully innocent and wholesome until you realize that's legal code for laboratory-engineered chemical compounds specifically designed to simulate tastes that don't naturally exist in the product itself. Open a canister of Folgers right now. That smell hitting your nose? It's not coffee. It's carefully engineered aroma compounds specifically formulated by food scientists to trigger nostalgic comfort responses in your brain, to remind you of childhood mornings or your grandmother's kitchen, to create emotional associations that override rational quality assessment. Brew it and look carefully at what you actually get. Thin, pale, watery, weak. No natural oils floating on the surface like real coffee produces. Real coffee is body, viscosity, presence. This is brown water masquerading as a morning ritual. Between 2015 and 2018, multiple independent laboratories testing major coffee brands for contamination found that Folgers samples contained acrylamide levels consistently exceeding California Proposition 65 limits. That's the state's official cancer warning threshold, the level at which products must carry warnings about cancer risk. Folgers never acknowledged these findings publicly, never reformulated their products or processing methods, never warned consumers or issued statements. They just continued selling while relying entirely on brand loyalty and nostalgia to overcome scientific evidence. For families trying desperately to make informed decisions about what enters their bodies, Folgers makes verification completely impossible. For seniors who've trusted this brand faithfully for 50 years, that trust was built carefully on silence and opacity, rather than actual quality. For anyone who genuinely believes that familiar red canister represents quality and safety, it actually represents a complete triumph of marketing over transparency and consumer protection. 60 years of catchy jingles, 0 years of honest disclosure about what's really in your cup. The best part waking up? Actually knowing what's in your coffee. Folgers makes absolutely sure you never will.